It's 10 o'clock. This is Sky News at 10, our top story. The heavy metal legend and reformed wildman Ozzy Osbourne dies at the age of 76.
I was the crazy guy in rock and roll. If you wanted me to do something, tell me not to.
Tonight, the music world pays tribute. Sir Elton John says Ozzy Osbourne was a huge trailblazer and a true legend. Also tonight, a humanitarian horror show, the stark warning from the head of the UN as children reportedly die of malnutrition in Gaza. A man is jailed for life for murdering his wife as she pushed their baby in a pram in Bradford. Sky News goes inside the American town, open to only white people. Plus, England get a late equaliser to take their Euros semi-final against Italy into extra time. And we'll take a first look at tomorrow's front pages in our press preview from 10:30 right through to midnight. Good evening. The heavy metal legend and Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 76. His family say he passed away this morning surrounded by love. Over a career spanning more than 5 decades, Ozzy Osbourne changed the face of rock and cemented his reputation as one of music's wildest frontmen. Our arts and entertainment correspondent Katie Spencer looks back at his life and a warning her report contains flash photography.
His eyes filled with tears. Just a few weeks ago, this was Ozzy Osbourne. While the Prince of Darkness had sounded great, it had taken a Herculean effort to get him physically strong enough to do this. A stunning way to say goodbye from an artist who was used to confounding expectations. In an arena-filling career which spanned 7 decades, Ozzy Osbourne was as known for the notorious acts he performed whilst under the influence as he was for his music. As the lead singer of pioneering British metal band Black Sabbath and through his solo work, selling over 100 million albums, fans crazy for his unique brand of heavy metal mayhem. One of Birmingham's biggest and most beloved exports. Born John Michael Osbourne, bullied, he left school at 15, working on construction sites, even at a slaughterhouse. Hearing the Beatles, he said, made him dream of being a musician.
That song changed my life. She Loves You had such an impact on me. Sometimes I hear a song and I go, oh, I remember when I met Susie. It reminds me of when you fell in love or you broke up. I remember exactly where I was walking down a road called Whitton Road in Aston. I had a blue transistor radio, and when that song came on, I knew from then on what I wanted to do in my life. You imagine going to bed tonight and waking up tomorrow to a completely exciting, brand new world. When I was a kid, my bedroom wall was full of anything with the word Beatles on. And they were great. I owe my career to them.
Recruited as a singer in the late 60s in a band whose name would be subject to tweaks, but that would eventually become Black Sabbath. A lineup of 4 penniless working-class school friends playing heavy blues laced with dark lyrics, twigging that people seem to get off on being frightened by them during their gigs. This song, their big breakthrough. Written in 5 minutes, Paranoid, a hastily recorded album filler, stormed the singles charts, establishing them as ones to watch.
What happened with Sabbath, for instance, Black Sabbath 1, the first album, we recorded that in 12 hours, believe it or not. The whole thing was done in 12 hours on an 8-track machine in a little backstreet studio in London. It cost like $10 to make or something. It was one of the biggest selling albums I ever did.
War Pigs, another which put Osbourne on the map as an artist with a gift for huge vocals.
Say where you go, the War Pigs people know.
One appalled critic wrote how their records sounded like heavy metal being banged together. A satanic aesthetic combined with a sound which would establish them as one of the pioneers of a new genre, a template which many would follow, the likes of Nirvana citing them as an inspiration. Fans who'd never heard anything like them loved it. Blindsided by success, Osbourne took hell-raising to another level. In 1979, his drink and drug consumption so out of control, the band fired him.
We all cried our eyes out for about a week when Ozzy gone, because I swear to God, if he hadn't have been fired from the band, he'd have been dead like within a month.
Throughout the 70s, 80s and 90s, the rocker confessed he was a raving drug addict.
In the 80s, I was the crazy guy in rock and roll. If you wanted me to do something, tell me not to. And when you're loaded, you do crazy things.
From biting the heads off bats and birds, snorting a line of ants.
Good evening, Ozzy.
What?
Good evening, Ozzy.
Hello there.
To horrifying middle America by urinating on the Alamo. Outrageous behaviour accompanied by blackouts so extreme he had no recollection of moments, like when he tried to strangle the woman he'd marry.
So he read John Michael had been arrested for attempted murder of Sharon Osbourne. I'm like, is this a joke? He says, no, I'm not joking. He says, you're going to court in a minute. That hit me like, it was like a hammer between the eyes. It was like, I remember getting this dull feeling in my heart, which is like, I thought I didn't know whether she was in hospital or what I'd done, you know.
Sharon Osbourne enduring a lot, entering into a relationship with Ozzy when she took over his management from her father. The pair married, and she played a pivotal role in the fortunes her husband would make.
Less than a year after being fired from Black Sabbath, Ozzy was a rock star again.
Helping him to eventually get clean, and a driving force behind ventures like Ozfest, heavy metal festivals which ran for almost 20 years. In the noughties, signing her husband and family up to his big second act.
What? What's going on now?
Who? What? Who's that?
What?
Osbourne. Osbourne.
A reality TV show with a global audience tuning in to observe the family fallouts and obvious culture clashes in LA. Ozzy's air of indestructibility was seriously challenged in 2003 when a quad bike accident made headlines and left the singer with short-term memory loss. 16 years later, a near-fatal fall saw Osbourne suffer spinal damage and be diagnosed with a mild form of Parkinson's disease, putting paid to any hopes of him ever going back on the road. But there was one gig he couldn't miss. In 2022, the close of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. His performance, a headbanging triumph. Fans had suspected that might be it. But then, just a few weeks ago, a lineup of heavy metal royalty signed up to play for their hero in this. His final ever gig, held a stone's throw away from where he grew up. Looking down on the crowds from his throne, it was the perfect goodbye from the Prince of Darkness. His was a very unlikely journey from Birmingham to LA, a working-class hero of heavy metal who became a household name as a reality star. Ozzy Osbourne, the bat-biting rocker whose wild personality proved just as entertaining as hearing him sing.
Thank you very much.
Katie Spencer, Sky News.
And Emma Birchley is with me in the studio. Emma, he died earlier today in the morning. We found out at 7 o'clock, though, didn't we?
Yes, it was in a statement from the family. This was it. It is with more sadness than words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. And that's signed Sharon, Jack, Kelly, Amy and Louis. And there have been so many tributes, and they keep on coming from fellow superstars, from those who were inspired by him throughout their careers, and from people who played alongside him. There has been a message on Instagram this evening from Tony Iommi, who was a co-founder of Black Sabbath and a guitarist in the band. And he said it's just such heartbreaking news that I can't really find the words. There won't ever be another like him. Gaza, Bill and myself have lost our brother. Tributes too from Sir Elton John. You get a real sense of just what a legend he was. So sad to hear the news of Ozzy Osbourne passing away. He was a dear friend and a huge trailblazer who secured his place in the pantheon of rock gods, a true legend. He was also one of the funniest people I've ever met. I will miss him dearly. To Sharon and the family, I send my condolences and love. From Sir Rod Stewart, bye-bye, Ozzy, sleep well, my friend. I'll see you up there later rather than sooner. They're all around the same age. Sir Brian May, from Queen, referring in his tribute to a concert just 2.5 weeks ago at Villa Park in Ozzy's beloved Birmingham. And Sir Brian saying his last appearance at Villa Park was a glorious way to say goodbye. The love in that place for him was gigantic. I'm grateful I was able to have a few quiet words with him after the show, and happy to know he passed peacefully with his loving family close by. That concert where Ozzy Osbourne emerged in a throne with a trademark bat across the back of it, tearful at times, in front of that crowd of 40,000 fans. He knew it was a final goodbye. He said, "You've no idea how I feel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." And for those who loved him, hard to believe that he can be gone so soon after that concert just 2.5 weeks ago.
Absolutely. Emma Birchley, thank you. The head of the United Nations has warned that starvation is knocking in every door in Gaza. Antonio Guterres says the humanitarian situation has become a horror show and the world is now seeing the last gasp of Gaza's aid system. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says 15 people have died of malnutrition in the past 24 hours, including a 6-week-old baby. And the United Nations says more than 1,000 people have now been killed trying to access humanitarian supplies since a new distribution system was introduced in May. A warning that this report from Sky's Lisa Holland contains images you may find distressing.
Gaza's doctors say they're treating an influx of malnutrition cases, and in particular children. It's impossible to verify the numbers, but the United Nations has painted a vivid condemnation of aid distribution and its impact.
We need look no further than the horror show in Gaza, with a level of death and destruction without parallel in recent times. Malnourishment is soaring, starvation is knocking on every door. And now we are seeing the last gasp of a humanitarian system built on humanitarian principles.
This is what the head of the UN is talking about. The abject chaos and danger Gazans face trying to get food. Aid used to be distributed mainly by the UN. Now their warehouses are shut because Israel accused Hamas of stealing and profiting from sites like this. The Israeli and American-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation took over the running of aid in Gaza 2 months ago. They're accused of failing to feed Gaza's people, and the UN claims around 1,000 people have died at or near GHF sites or trying to get food, prompting a war of words between the organisations. In a statement, the GHF said, "The false and exaggerated statistics from the UN seem to come directly from the Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Ministry. The UN's reliance and coordination with a terrorist organisation to falsely smear our effort is not only disturbing, but should be investigated by the international community." The UN has hit back, saying its operations need to resume in Gaza.
We have always said it's important to investigate these killings. What the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation then and the IDF needs to do is to investigate this, not completely dismiss that this is not happening. There is such severe lack of humanitarian aid that anything that's entering into Gaza is being looted. The solution for this is simple in one way. Allow the UN and other partners to take massive amount of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
Israel controls the borders with Gaza, and as it pushed on with its assault into Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, there was no sign of any easing of restrictions allowing in much-needed supplies of aid. Lisa Holland, Sky News, Jerusalem.
A man has been sentenced to life with a minimum term of 28 years after murdering his wife as she pushed their baby son in a pram in Bradford. Habib Massoum stabbed Kulsuma Akhter more than 25 times after he tracked her down to a women's refuge where she had been staying to escape him. Sky's Molly Malone reports.
The prosecution called him the smiling killer, and this is why. Habiba Massoum was caught on CCTV, appearing calm and composed, just minutes after he'd stabbed his wife to death in broad daylight, while she was out shopping, pushing their 7-month-old son in a pram, after tricking her into leaving the safety of a refuge.
Within 15 minutes, you had viciously and mercilessly attacked her in the plain view of passers-by. You stole a precious young life in a brutal and merciless fashion because of your self-interest and refusal to accept Kulsuma's right to a life free from your violence and controlling behaviour.
Kulsuma Akhter had moved cities to escape her husband, who the judge described as jealous and controlling. The court heard how he'd been abusive and violent in the past. Massoum had stalked her for days and tracked her down using her phone location. She was encouraged to leave the refuge only because he'd falsely claimed to be in Spain, luring a 27-year-old mother to her death, stabbing her 26 times.
As a family, we miss her beautiful smile, which would light up every room she entered. We will miss her humour, her kindness and her love. We will never forgive the monster who took Kulsuma from us. We do not wish to utter his name. It does not deserve to be mentioned. The monster who savagely took Kulsuma not only from us, but also from her baby son. He will never know her beauty and her kindness. He will never know his mother.
Massoum travelled for days before being arrested nearly 200 miles away. His preparation for the attack the judge described as calculated, sentencing him to life in prison for at least 28 years. Molly Malone, Sky News.
President Trump says it would be appropriate for U.S. prosecutors to interview Ghislaine Maxwell about her former partner, the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The Justice Department is understood to have asked the former socialite to speak to them. She's currently in prison after being convicted of sex trafficking in 2021. The U.S. president, who's under pressure to release files related to Epstein, was asked about his Deputy Attorney General potentially meeting Maxwell.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
Well, our U.S. correspondent David Blevins is in Washington for us. David, we just heard the president call it a witch hunt. I mean, certainly questions around his links to Jeffrey Epstein are not going away.
Yes, Donald Trump's Epstein conspiracy really has come full circle back to his own door. You'll remember during the election campaign how often he and his supporters claimed that the late paedophile's client list was being concealed by what they call the deep state. Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, vowed to release the list, but then claimed it didn't exist, effectively turning the tables on them, because that caused their own supporters to now ask if this administration is concealing that list for some reason. In a bid to quell the storm around all of this, the Department of Justice has said it now wants to speak to Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend and accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein. She's serving a 20-year sentence. Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, says he's been in touch with her lawyers. But the administration has gone from saying it will release the list to there is no list, to criticising its own base for asking questions about the list. In addition to all of this, Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch and two reporters from the Wall Street Journal for alleging he sent a letter once to Jeffrey Epstein, something he describes as fake. And the other complication, of course, is that Congress is about to go into recess for the summer, so lawmakers won't get an opportunity to vote on the release of files related to Jeffrey Epstein until the autumn at the earliest. But when asked about all of this, Donald Trump did what he often does. He pointed the finger at President Obama and accused him of sabotaging the 2016 election and subsequent presidency. That felt like deflection, so it's very unlikely to quell the dissent around all of this, a dissent that's been fuelled by what was at the beginning Donald Trump's own conspiracy.
David Blevins with the latest on that from Washington, D.C. David, thank you. Resident doctors today voted to go ahead with strike action later this week. The British Medical Association has accused NHS bosses of putting patients at risk in the upcoming doctor strike. The union says NHS England's plan to limit the number of routine treatments will stretch remaining doctors covering for those on strike too thinly.
NHS leaders will put patient safety at the absolute core of their response. Safety is absolutely the priority for patients. I think one of the key areas over the next 24, 48 hours will be reaching some sort of understanding on which are the critical and the key services that we can agree with the BMA will be maintained and will be fully staffed. So emergency departments, intensive care, some cancer services. That's likely to be a focus of the discussions over the next 48 hours.
Sir James Cleverly has returned to the Tory front bench in a shadow cabinet reshuffle. The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, said the changes will kickstart the next stage of her party's renewal.
Sometimes personal circumstances change, and Ed Argar, who had been the Shadow Health Secretary, had to step back for personal reasons, for health reasons. I'm very sorry to see him go, but it was an opportunity to make a lot of changes with other Shadow Cabinet members had requested. Some people wanted to do something different or had a key interest in another area, and it was also an opportunity to bring back a very, very talented colleague in James Cleverly, and I'm thrilled that he is taking on the shadow housing and local government brief.
A driver has been arrested after a bus crashed into a bridge in Salford, seriously injuring 3 people. The roof of the bus was ripped off after it hit the Bridgewater Canal Aqueduct in Eccles. It's thought the bus was not on its normal route. Images of a possible tornado were recorded in Marsden, just outside Huddersfield in West Yorkshire yesterday. Now, there's a lot of discussion as to whether or not it was in fact a tornado or what's known as a funnel cloud, which doesn't quite reach the Earth's surface. Sky News has gone inside a community in the U.S. state of Arkansas that says only white, straight Christians are welcome. Sky's Tom Cheshire was invited to visit the group, which is part of a wider online movement with supporters across the globe. Here's his report.
High up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice. No blacks, no Jews, no gays. Its founder, Eric Orwell, invited me in because they believe what they are doing is completely legal.
Welcome to the Ozarks.
Thank you very much.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture. Yeah, not just white, but white American.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, it's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labour, the women take care of the children who live here full-time.
It's a loving movement.
On that aspect of it being loving, I suppose the counter-argument would be it could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do, and I think that's great for them. If other people are allowed to do it, I don't really see why whites aren't allowed to do it. It doesn't make any sense.
But the goal is to have lots of these communities, and for it maybe not to be rural, for there to be cities on the same basis, right?
Yeah, that would be neat. I look forward to seeing how this movement grows over time.
Return to the Land is only the most radical example of a growing trend. These are all the white supremacist incidents, demonstrations, leafleting, recruitment drives, meetups over the last 4 years in the US, tracked by ACLED, an organisation that monitors violent conflict and protest. There's been a dramatic increase over that period. It has become a background thrum of nationalist activity. You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members' association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail, according to civil rights experts.
If you really look deep in the Civil Rights Act, that would state that, no, it doesn't state that. And I think they misunderstand what it states, because there have been many organizations that tried to carve that out and say, hey, there are certain people I want to hear and certain people I don't, and there was a lawsuit. And the person who filed the lawsuit won, because you cannot carve out and say, I want this group of people in and this group of people out. That's not right.
Right or not, they are doing it and they are growing it. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society. We contacted the governor of Arkansas, but did not receive any response. Return to the Land, though, hopes to be a beacon for its political ideals. Others will look at the same flames and see something very dangerous. Tom Cheshire, Sky News, Arkansas.
Well, that was Sky News at 10. Coming up, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's papers in the press preview. Tonight, we're joined by the broadcaster and commentator Ali Miraj and the journalist and broadcaster Sonia Soda. Welcome both. And among the stories we'll be discussing, this on the front of the Express. The headline, picturing a starving child in Gaza. For pity's sake, stop this now. We'll be right back.